All right, y'all, we're going to take a look at this boudoir photography business today. We're going to see if, for these two Google searches, if BSS is present. All right, so we're out here in the GBC universe again, where we bring declining boudoir photographers to the number one boudoir photographer in their city. As always, our North Star is FSIC, aka full spectrum intent capture. More on that, pinned video, home video on the profile, whatever. And that's because FSIC explains why all boudoir photographers either rise or fall. So we got our intent spectrum here, in white, high on the left, low on the right. And if a boudoir photographer is rising, they're probably bringing in peeps from the entire intent spectrum, from high intent to low or no intent. At least bringing them in awareness, even if they're low or no intent, awareness that we exist. And if we have a boudoir photographer business that's falling, they're probably missing chunks somewhere here on the intent spectrum. So here we talk about BSS. We're way over on the left side. Highest intent peeps. This is social search and Google search. I search on social networks for boudoir photo shoot in my city. See on Google search, the highest intent keyword searches. And over on the right, that's our other sister brand, different profiles, Boudoir FB Ad Doctor. So we're talking about BLCS. Talking about BLCS, kind of a niche problem there, niche pain. And right now we currently only deal with boudoir photographers running more than 10 grand a month on boudoir Facebook ads. And that side on the right, that's the lowest intent peeps. Interruption ads, Facebook, Instagram. They have no intent for boudoir right now. Next, moving on, we got BSS, boudoir search sameness. That's what it is. That means a boudoir photographer has either 0 or 1 slots on page 1 of Google. So 0 or 1 slots on page 1 of Google. If we got 0 slots, we're basically dead because we have, we've already talked about approximately 80% of Google searches never reach page 2. They're page 1 only searches. So approximately 80% of searches, aka the bulk of the market, is page 1 only. So from page 2, we're basically dead. Page 1, that's if we got 1 slot on page 1, that's still not enough. There's there's 10 organic slots. There's one out of if there's 9 other boudoir photographers, everyone else got 1 slot, then a buyer's just clicking down all of page 1, basically never gonna go to page 2. Open up everyone's website, gonna compare, contrast, price shop all these boudoir photographers. And as a result, we're still basically invisible because we're being price shopped so much. So we know that 0 1 slots on page 1 of Google is not normal. Common, but it's not normal, dude. It's not normal to have that many, those few slots on page 1, when Google actually wants to give us way more to those that want to take them. So 0 1 slots on page 1 Google is not normal is actually the symptom of 2 deeper root causes. Those 2 deeper root causes are market saturation, which basically everyone understands, but also newly the false belief of page 1 equality, which basically nobody understands yet. So market saturation, that seems like every week someone get a new iPhone. We see them throwing up their Google My Business profile, their website. Now they say they do boudoir. They're a boudoir photographer, or they get a new camera. They're posting in the mom groups. They also do boudoir photo shoots now. So that's market saturation. Also, COVID, tons of new peeps came into the marketplace because nobody could work. People lost their jobs. But again, everyone's got a phone with a great camera, so bringing in a ton more peeps to become boudoir photographers. Now, the false belief of page 1 equality, this is a big one. This is what I've seen is the number 1 killer of boudoir photography businesses. This is where everyone, well, if everyone believes it, kind of automatically, implicitly, this is where, they're kind of like, everyone gets either 0 1 slots on page 1 of Google. And so, I had, slot number 8 on Google. The boudoir photographer ranked above me. I got kicked down to slot 10. And, it is what it is because every boudoir photographer gets either 0 or 1 slots on Google. And there's basically nothing I can do about it. But this is 100% incorrect. Google actually will give as many page 1 slots as possible to those who actually want the page 1 slots. And I know this because I went from 0 out of 10 slots on page 1 to 9 out of 10 slots on page 1 Google organic search in 10 days. So I know Google gives these slots out to the people that want to take them. And as a result, if people believe this page 1 equality is true, then they never kind of break out of the box and look for solutions. And, well, there were no real good solutions before it. But now we got one, which you'll see that in two pictures from here. So we also know that boudoir photographer with BSS, with boudoir search sameness, is a disappearing boudoir photographer, a DBP. So our micro-universe taking shape, a disappearing boudoir photographer with boudoir search sameness is caused by the two horns of market saturation and the false belief of page one equality. Thankfully, though, we finally have a solution. We know that BSS is treated with social search saturation, aka S cubed methodology. And how do we know that? Because we invented it. And so it works exactly as it says. S cubed methodology, social search saturation. We saturate social search with our highest intent, highest demand keywords for highest intent buyers, what they would be searching on Google. To saturate social search, so we show up for all those. It's kind of like the backside of the Andes Mountains, all these small streams and rivers, then flow into the large Amazon River. These then eventually all flow into Google, page one Google search. But the initial upstream is ranking high, page one social search across all the four major social networks. Now, SQ methodology, this is the only thing that I've seen that can successfully, for boudoir photographers, it's the only thing I've seen that can successfully fight back against market saturation. Literally the only thing. And as a result, we, basically as a result, that's the only thing that gets us results relatively quickly. Because the only other thing I've seen actually successfully outcompete is market saturation is having a brand. But dude, that takes like 5 years minimum, more like 10 years. So because AI is coming taking people's jobs, we ain't got 5 or 10 years anymore. We got to move ASAP, ASAP, ASAP. And S cubed methodology is that vehicle. So, imagine we got 1 million boudoir photographers in Omaha, Nebraska. We're one of them. Everyone's got a website saying they're boudoir photographers. So everyone's ranking there. And as a result, we are competing with all these boudoir photographers for page one. So we say, you know what? Screw this. The only chance we got of competing here is cranking S cubed methodology up to the max. And luckily, I was working with no one else in Omaha, so you could actually hire me. So we crank it up to the max, and let's say we are successfully, we're ranking the first 300 slots, page one of, search in all these social networks. Well, not even page one, dude. That's like a lot more pages than page one. But the first 300 slots, we're taking them up, and as a result, we are there's a small rivers that flow into page one Google. So we're taking the first 300 organic slots on Google as well. And there's 10 organic slots per page. So we're literally taking the first 30 pages, all the organic slots from them. And so anytime anyone in our city search for boudoir photographer with those high intent keywords, they are basically anywhere they look. They're basically only finding us. Now, for organic search, they could go to page 31 to essentially start finding our competitors. But dude, we already know approximately 80% of Google searches never even hit page 2. They're page 1 search only. So who the heck's hitting page 31? Basically nobody. So as a result, even though there are 999,999 other boudoir photographers and us competing against us, since we captured social search and Google search, the highest intent keywords are basically the only one that's being found. So whose business is the only one growing as a result? Our business. Out of all million boudoir photographers. So that's what we mean what I mean when I say this is the only thing I've discovered other than brand that can successfully compete against market saturation. Compete against and still grow the business. Now, once we treat BSS with S cubed methodology, we have page one visibility. And boom, we get an instant bonus benefit, an initial benefit, which is for every new slot we acquire on page one, we're actually kicking a competing boudoir photographer off page one, effectively making them invisible. So this is awesome because, hey, we're getting more slots on page one. We get, more of, out of 10 attention because there's 10 slots, increasing our attention. But actually, we're decreasing the number of boudoir photographers who we're competing against because we're kicking a new one off every time we rank another, we get another slot on there. That's an initial benefit initially right off the bat using S cubed methodology. Now, page one visibility activates boudoir search visibility for us. BSV, we have a GBC minimum here, recommended minimum of reaching 3 out of 10 slots on page one Google search because basically everyone else will have 1 slot. So for Google's recommended us 3 times, well, buyers can be like, well, what the hell? Why is Google recommend this person? They must be good. They may even click to us, only us, and not even look at the other options on page one. But in addition, there's a tiny chance another boudoir photographer has 2 slots on page one. So if we got 3 slots, we're out competing everyone that has 0, 1, or 2 slots on page one of Google search. Now we also know that boudoir photographer with BSV, with boudoir search visibility, is a visible boudoir photographer, a VBP. So we got our full micro universe here. A disappearing boudoir photographer with boudoir search sameness is caused by the two horns of market saturation and the false belief of page one equality. Now, we use S-cubed methodology. We finally have a solution. Thank the universe. Page one visibility. We achieve page one visibility. We become a visible boudoir photographer with boudoir search visibility. Now, my results. So myself, purely using S-cubed methodology, I'm going to rank for the term BLCS boudoir. And come down to organic. Organic results, we got organic slot 1, Instagram, me. Organic slot 2, me. Slot 3, me. Slot 4, me. Slot 5, me. Slot 6, me. Slot 7, me. Slot 8, me. And slot 10 is also me. And I did this in 10 days. I went from 0 out of 10 slots, Google Organic, page 1. And I got up to 9 out of 10 slots, Google Organic, page 1, in only 10 days. So these are my own results utilizing S-cubed methodology. And so now we're going to check if this boudoir photography business, well, you saw in my picture, I definitely don't have BSS, boudoir search sameness. So we'll see if this boudoir photography business has boudoir search sameness for these two searches. We got local search, then we got kind of the larger city search. So first one, we got West Pasco, Washington. And let's see. So, all right, we got one. Boom. We got two. All right, so we do not have BSS. Nice. I wonder if Boudoir by Rebecca is the same one. I'm not sure. Okay, there we go. You're in Pasco, Washington. So we got three. All right, dude, we're hit perfect. This is exactly what I want to see. I want to see at least the GBC minimum. So we do not have BSS for this Google search. Now we'll check. Now we'll check kind of for the larger city area. So go down to the organic. So larger city area, Tri-Cities, Washington. So we got one. Two, right there, the threads. Three, couples boudoir. Okay, that's fine. It's got boudoir in it, so we got three. Hey, this is actually perfect. So we do not have BSS, and actually for local and city, they've met the GBC minimum of 3 out of 10. So hey, dude, that's perfect. So we can confidently say they're probably not a disappearing boudoir photographer. Well, they don't meet it categorically because they don't have BSS, but probably not disappearing. They're most likely treading water or growing. So I got the the 3 out of 10. So it's perfect. This is what we want to shoot for. And then for those that want to keep growing the momentum, take more page one search slots, as many as possible. So if you're a disappearing boudoir photographer and you've actually gone and done the local search for the highest intent keywords for your locale, and you've also done it for your city, and you've seen that you got at least one of those has BSS, or you see that at least one you are not hitting the GBC recommended minimum of 3 out of 10 slots page one on Google, then you're seeing this SQ methodology like, yes, this is what I've been waiting for. Maybe you had been thinking, how can we get more slots on page one on Google? So maybe you'd already broken through the false belief of page one equality, but now you're like, yes, SQ methodology, that's what I've been looking for. Even though you kind of didn't know what to expect or what it would look like, but you decided, yes, SQ methodology is your way to move forward. So you're like, heck yeah. And you're also understanding the like the initial benefits of it. More slots page one. The two initial benefits: more slots page one on Google, kicking more competing with photographers off page one, off to page two, effectively making them invisible to approximately 80% of the marketplace. And you understand the two prongs of market saturation. Getting new iPhone or getting new camera, so getting new gear, and you're looking ahead and you're saying, well, you understand AI is going to be taking a ton of people's jobs. So like, okay, that is actually going to be the biggest flood, the biggest force of more boudoir photographers into the marketplace. or people who are even those who are new to boudoir photography, going to compress margins for everyone, lower prices for everyone, going to basically force more competition, page one Google search. And so you're saying, all right, I actually need to not only get this many links on page one, you also need to fortify your position right now in preparation for all the new boudoir photographers coming into the market after AI starts taking more and more people's jobs every single day. And your CNSQ methodology is also a perfect thing for that as well. It's kind of like building the levees in Nolens, Louisiana, where the city is below sea level. And so once that happens, you're like, or once you're basically seeing the future right now. So you're like, the more links, momentum you can build up to get page one links on Google, the higher chance that the new boudoir photographers never even reach page one, never even reach the links, um, on Google page one. And so when you, so you're seeing that, and SQ methodology is the way forward, and you want to increase the you want to achieve page one visibility, become a visible boudoir photographer with boudoir search visibility, because you need those things in order to become number one boudoir photographer in your city. And you also understand kind of the long-term back-end benefits of successfully executing this SQ methodology every single day. And these successful benefits are, basically you're building up kind of these columns, these mindshare columns of peeps who are, kind of these invisible thematic keyword columns that actually, they're kind of like invisible. They're columns attached to, like, the Parthenon in Athens are kind of like invisible columns, like hub and spoke model. So like spokes onto a hub. And these things exist kind of like as AI mindshare. So you understand the future benefits, which is actually the more we successfully execute methodology, the higher probability we're going to be sort of appear AI overview on AI search. And so that probability kind of builds and builds and builds every single day that we do successfully execute methodology. And also the same goes for backend search. Like AI search, like ChatGPT search, like we got Perplexity, Claude, we got Microsoft Copilot search, Google Gemini search, and you're seeing other feature benefits as we're successfully executing SQ methodology actually increase the probability we get a list on AI search for all those as well. So I know last time I searched for boudoir photographers in a city, ChatGPT, it literally recommended 3. And I actually went to go on Google for myself to look at, okay, how many are actually going to be, are actually out here. Dude, there's like 60, like Google Maps and Google Search all combined. And so it's like, all right, we got to do something to really increase the probability that we're increasing search here, that we get on these. Because I don't standard Google search anything. I'm always using the Google AI overview. And so I know, yeah, standard Google search is still like approximately 90% of all searches, all the search market globally. But dude, AI search getting bigger and bigger every day. So you're seeing that, and you want to actually get kind of those bonuses, those momentum being shown in the increase the probability gets shown in these searches. And as a result, you also understand that you decide to hop on this first because you'll be actually able to build a ton of momentum and separate yourself from all your competitors. Because I basically my plan currently is to only work with one boudoir photographer in each city. So you're saying you can kind of close off your competitors from using this and put a massive gap between you and them before they even know what's going on, before they even know we've put in the effort to completely dominate page one Google search. And conversely, you're seeing that man in front of your competitors actually, if one of your competitors actually hops on this first and works with me, well, then you'd have to rederive SQ methodology on your own correctly. And when you do that, you would never be 100% confident if you did it, derived it correct or not. And what would actually happen is you'd have to equal our execution. And when you equal our execution, you would simply be maintaining the gap me and your competitor would have already built up, kind of above you or ahead of you. So you'd maintain that gap. You'd actually have to double or triple our daily output of execution and of SQ methodology to close that gap, kind of pull that AI mindshare brain momentum for those invisible thematic keyword columns away from your competitor and me and back towards yourself. And so it's like, dude, who's got the 80 hours in a day to do all that? So you decide, screw that. You're going to be the number one first mover in your city. Lock the other peeps out. And so if that's you, shoot me a DM. My hospital is currently closed for new patient intake right now. So my DMs are currently closed, but when I do open up the hospital for new patient intake, then shoot me a DM and we'll see if you qualify to utilize our S cubed methodology.